achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Then celebrate it with or without champagne.
Yay, Michael, we're here. So we're here, our friends are here. It's another magical day, right?
Cyrus is still not here.
Yeah, well, Cyrus will come back, we hope.
Man, his computer takes a long time to boot up.
Yeah, sometimes they do, right? Sometimes they do. Do I really want to ban her? Yeah, well, Cyrus is back already. How you doing, Cyrus? What happened to you?
I'm doing well, thank you so much. I was kind of I kind of slipped off the stage, yeah.
Figuratively speaking, my friend. Figuratively speaking. Yeah, how's life going with both of you? Are you having good days? Or a good day at least?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I went into depression. You know, andropause.
What'd you do that for?
It's andropause. You can't help it. It just happens. It's a cycle thing.
Interesting, Michael. Interesting. I got to try and do my banner. I see a few of our friends are here. So Nat, welcome. I see you. I said Dr. Leslie's here as well. You say yes. Michael Rivers, thank you for joining us. He says that day's magical. I agree. It's a magical day. Yeah. Michael, coming back to you, my friend. What does depression look like?
To me, it's kind of like you feel kind of a little bit melancholy, and at the same time, you don't have a good feeling or a bad feeling, or you don't feel bad or you don't feel good. It's just you feel, bizarre, just in between.
Wow.
Don't feel triggered or anything like that. You know, I'm typically pretty excited when I come to your shows. I'm just not excited today.
Hopefully, our topic will excite you, Michael. Hopefully, our topic will excite you.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So, Simi, welcome, Simi. So, when I send the invites out, there's some people I look at twice and I think, should I invite them? Will they show up? Simi, thank you so much for being here. You're one of those. So, it validates the effort I put into inviting people. The fact that you're here, it tells me that I'm not wasting my time, right? So thank you so much. You cheered me up. You brightened my day. Michael, it sounds like a hard one. I have to say, right? It sounds like a hard one to do with.
Andropause is going to be like that, isn't it?
For some, maybe. For some, I mean, listening to our friends Satsagu, our menopause, our andropause genius last week on Lisa's show, tells us that it's a journey, right?
It's a journey for sure, and it's something that's going to keep on going on and on and on and on.
But no, is there a place to find joy? I mean, my friends, this is. I tell you the obvious. What you have on stage here are three old men. Three aging men, right? Sarah's been the youngest of us, but me and Michael are older. We're old, and what's old? The other side of 50, my friends, is old. There's no hiding, right?
Yeah, I think that's what he said. The expert.
Oh, sorry, that's very loud. Go on, Michael. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said that 50 and on, you're likely to get andropause, so be wary of it. Okay.
What? I think he said it's from 30, right? It said from 30.
Technically, everyone's aging, to be honest.
Yeah, but no, Cyrus. Now, there comes a time when you go over 50, mate, you have to accept that you are more than halfway towards your demise, right? We're not going to live forever, and we'll be lucky to get to 100. That's my thinking anyway.
Well, in some people's cases, It depends whose perspective you're actually looking at. This issue as people who died at the age of 49, they never hit 50, eh?
Yeah, I agree with that. No, that's kind of factual, right, Cyrus? That's kind of a fact, right? But no, Michael and I have survived past 49. We're happy with that, right? So
Yeah.
I
But then
guess
at the
when I
same
was,
time, we're also going to be depressed for the guys who died at 49. I mean, we have to
no, we're not going to be depressed like that.
consider that.
We're just not. We're not. I say
Come
I
on, man.
live a life of joy.
They are. What happened to them was really sad. Sometimes they blessed your life, just growing up. They blessed your life. So when you think of them, yeah, think of the blessings, but at the same time, think of the fact that they're missing. They're not there with you.
Well, thankfully, I don't know anyone. There's two ways of looking at it. Either I don't know many people, or I don't know many people who die. So I'm kind of blessed that way. I do count as one of my blessings. In fact, I haven't been to a funeral
Well, in our
for
culture, we
years. For
spend
years.
we spend quite a bit of time um, actually going and visiting those who passed. I mean, when they go to when when their families holding the burial and so on. We do that quite often. It's a cultural wow must do or cultural
Mm.
you have to present yourself because you, you can't move on in life without doing it. It's kind of like you get cast out of the community kind of a thing if you don't do it.
Yeah,
So
well, look,
or it's like bad manners. That's what it is, like bad manners. So we
wow.
do a lot of that. So
But as
I
you
know
know,
that.
Michael, when you're in diaspora, those sort of customs can be avoided. Simi, you're too kind. You said we're three wise men. We're three old men, Simi. You're far too kind with your words. I see you too. I see you, Tracy.
And
Welcome,
I was
welcome,
just
welcome.
thinking the other day, Annie, that every time you do this, it's like you put up a baobab tree, kind of like the internet becomes a baobab tree, and you invite the elders or the folks who are wise, etc., to come and talk, even the youngsters too. So it's a
That's
nice
that's
take.
that's
I like
you.
it.
That's you, Michael. Like you are that wise old owl. I invite come to.
Ah, don't underestimate yourself.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I'll take that any that comment about being wise. I've been called worse, to be honest, in my life.
I tell you, no, really. I
You
get I
like
get
being
called
called
words
now.
every day by my son, so I'm all right with that. I can live with it, right? Luz,
So,
welcome. Thank you
okay,
for joining us. So have an
I'll
amazing Tuesday,
remember that. I'll remember
everyone.
this.
What's that?
You like being called an owl, and a wise one for that.
I don't know if you called it white. No, I would take it. Is what I said. But that's how I like it. I mean, look,
Look,
I, li-
the
I
the
live in this strange.
smile and the way you're
I live
blushing
in this.
all over
I
your
live in this
face
strange world
indicates and
where
tells us
listen,
all that you
like,
love it.
you were talking about customs earlier, just now, a few minutes ago, right?
Yes.
Customs. Many Nigerians, many Africans would call me sir. I'm like, don't call me sir. Just call me any.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It, it's it's
Because
it's it's
That's
you're
very
an elder.
formal. That.
You're an
no, it makes me
elder.
feel old. It makes me feel like a geriatric. Really, I feel like the granddad or something. I'm not that old. I was a granddad at
All right.
36.
It's all relative, Annie. It's all relative.
Exactly, exactly.
Chill out. Chill
Uh,
out, Eddie. Chill.
my
Yeah.
friends, if you want to join the studio, please. The link is on the event page in the comment section. And also the link is, I just posted a link on here on this comment stream as well. Silver Deep, I see you now. Thanks, Nat. You're a star, Natalie. Thank you for being so amazing. Thank you for joining us. Look, I think today is an interesting conversation. For the person, the people on my YouTube, please do like today's video and do comment, do say something. My YouTube has been going down because I haven't done as many events lately, but we're getting back there. So by end of next week, I'll be back to my usual quota of events, at least approaching my usual quota of events. So thank you so much for being on my YouTube. Crystal, welcome. So just saying how I'm exhausted today. Well, I suppose you have a holiday on Friday, Crystal, right? No, that's the US they shut down and to enjoy, the 4th of July. The rest of the world says, what is that about? But it's fine, it's fine. Say, relax, Crystal, relax, So my friend will keep you entertained for the next hour or so, next hour and a half. And then you can relax. And then I've only got one event today. Unlike next week, next Tuesday, I've got 3 events on Tuesday. And more. And it's the fun of life. So David, welcome. So I'm glad you're here, Mr. Hello LLC, the Metaverse Man. If you don't know what Metaverse is, connect with David and go along and see. It's essentially an app on your phone where you can see the world of the internet differently. So I'm excited, right? So our topic today is one that I see in a few people that want to work together, whether that's to write their book, whether that's to market their products and services. So a lot of people, they're scared of that thing, that what if, the what if-ry of life is what I call it, right? And there's the title of this room. What if, what if my book is not as good as other books? What if people don't buy my book or don't buy my products or services? What if I'm not as clever as the other people who do whatever I do? And what if no one buys my stuff? So I could have called this fear of failure, but I think the what if that we're addressing today is unique. It's particularly and very specific. That's the thing, right? We can narrow it down because I think when we talk about fears, Dr. Leslie will tell you there's 7 fears: fear of death, fear of not being liked by anyone, fear of fear of money, poverty. But I think today's one is probably not on Dr. Leslie's list. Leslie Flowers I'm talking about, but it is a reality for many of us. The fear of comparing ourselves to others when we create something. That fear of what if it doesn't work? What if people laugh at me? What if other people do it better than me? So I think it's one that can cripple us, of course. If we let that what if set in and take hold, many get put off. Many say it affects us more deeply than we think. Some get put off doing anything at all. Whether you call it procrastination, whether you call it pontification, whether you call it any other term of not doing what you have to do. Some will inherently change their belief about themselves, about their product, about their service, about that bold idea. I guess my belief is unless you have 100% belief in what you're doing, that you're going to succeed, then other negative behaviors and actions creep into your psyche. So whether that's people you don't talk to, people you don't interact with, things you don't do that you should be doing, that you could be doing, that will help you in your journey. So it is that fear of what others are doing that I want to address today. Because it's a real thing from my perspective. Of course, like I say, if you want to come and share with us, you're more than welcome in the studio. If you want to otherwise, please make your comments. Tell us your experience of that fear of competition. Have you ever thought about it? Has it ever affected you? Has it affected people you know? How do you deal with it? There's much for us to cover today, but hopefully we'll leave here within reason. Say with an hour, in an hour and a bit. Where are we now? So, an hour and a bit we will do, right? Michael Cyrus, you're my geniuses on stage today. I said, how are you doing? What's your take on this fear of competition? Have you seen it? Have you heard it? Have you felt it? I don't mind who goes first. Whoever meets first can speak with us. Michael, you win. Talk to us, my friend.
All right. With respect to fear of competition, um, I come from a background where sports has been the thing for me. Um, I've been a sports player ever since I was young. Definitely, um, I thrived on competition. It's something that gave me, I was elated actually, you know, be it whether I didn't get, a full mood of, oh man, if I was thrashed, if I lost, I did not take it as a loss. I took it as a learning opportunity. Um, I learned what kind of methods I needed to use in order to make my game better. Learn how to, and I practiced and learn how to, um, if I played tennis, like on a wall, I'd be practicing for like 4 hours, just trying to spin the ball, or trying to get my serving right, or trying to get my backhand just right. Um, because I lost the game, and it was critical because I had a partner with me who I was collaborating with in playing the game because we had doubles tennis. I was in that. I was in that. Not only did I play singles, I also played doubles. So I needed to improve my game such that I don't, I lessen the mistakes I make, and we both contribute to winning the game. Not just me doing it alone, but he was pretty good, and I was just, I needed to get better. He had like natural talent. I needed to get a lot better, so I had to practice, and that's what I did. And I took on competition as I welcomed it because it's something that allowed me to make myself better. I did that subconsciously, not for because I wanted the benefit of just seeing what I could do. How far can I get? How well can I get it done? Can I be the best? These are these are the type of things that are going through my mind. So I presume that the same kind of thought process is something that you'd apply in business, mm, and also apply it as an entrepreneur as well. The competition is there, but should it really matter? No, it shouldn't. The only competition you have to worry about is yourself.
Mm,
You need to have the ability to push yourself, go over that edge because you haven't been over that edge. They
mm,
have, but you haven't, or they have not, but you still haven't. It's you. It's you who's competing against yourself to see
mm,
how far you can go, to see to and if they tell you that there are limits, then you have to say to yourself, no, can there really be limits? Let me try it. Let me go over and then see if you can go over those limits. I tell you, as I've been living through life, I've been finding that there's no such thing as limits.
mm,
There is just no such thing as limits. You need to go beyond your limits. You need to go beyond their limits. You need to go beyond any limits that are set out there because there is no such thing as limits. So
mm,
you can go ahead and enjoy moving forward and progressing and being the best you can possibly be, being the best you can possibly be in the things that you enjoy.
mm,
Why? Because there are no limits. You just continue having fun. This is living life and then making the universe a better place because
yeah.
in this universe there are no limits. Go, go,
Mm,
go, go. And that's what I got to tell you right there.
yeah. Yeah. I like that. So yeah, I do like that. So
Hmm.
Dr. Lisa, welcome. Glad you're here. I can't see you on my stream yard yet, but you're here. Now, Simi, I agree with you. The fear of success is also a thing. I might bring that next time. I might bring that in 2 weeks' time. I think, how do you deal with the fear of success? that's a different conversation, right? As Simi says, I find myself, you know, self-sabotage on multiple occasions because of fear of success. You know, it's a thing for many of us. You know, we have made, we live in a world where we are prone to fear everything, right? I think there's some people even fear themselves. They fear, their shadow. I got a dog that fears everything: the wind, bit of paper, bit of dust. He just literally freaks. Everything that moves, he freaks out for no good reason whatsoever. And this is a big dog, by the way. So that's my dog, right? A lot of people will
My quick
self-sabotage.
thing with respect to that, Annie, my quick thing
Yeah.
with respect to that is that um, fear of success is because you haven't really thought about the number of successes you actually had in your life. If you actually think of the number of times you have been successful, subconsciously, you
Mm,
have done things that are amazing that you never did before.
yes,
And every
agree.
time you did that, you have been successful. So if you
Mm,
think about those moments, understand that all you need to be is just successful one more time. But
mhm.
and even that in being successful, what has that brought you? Has it brought you calamity? No, it has not. Maybe in some very few cases, but in terms of the number of successes you've had that have brought you a lot of joy compared to those that have brought you pain,
Mm.
the difference is so far in between. So
Yeah,
continue with your successes.
yeah.
Just
So
really
my,
think
my,
about it.
so
Hmm.
my part, as we will discuss, like I said we will discuss, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
sure.
fear of success is not all. It's not. It's the fear of winning. It's the fear of repeating that success, and then let. I guess is the question people I think we ask ourselves is, what does success mean? That's where you started off, right? We have to ask ourselves, what if I succeed at this? If I achieve my bold idea, for example, how will my life change? Just, again, look at sports people who succeed, who are famous, who are known, who are successful. For many of them, success suddenly puts you in the spotlight. Success puts you above the parapet to be shot at by people. Success makes you more visible, more well known. It might make you richer as well. And these are things that people fear sometimes. People don't. We don't want our lives to change. We want to carry on. Yes, be successful, but we seem to think we want to do it. We don't want to be known as that person, that man or that woman who does that. We want to just be, you know, off the radar whilst being the genius. It's almost like it's a backseat driver, right? And sometimes people don't want that change for whatever reason. There's a million reasons I can think of, right? I like my drinking habit, Michael. So if I succeed, if my book suddenly becomes a bestseller, and there was reading my book, what's going to happen next, Michael? The press will turn up at my door, and they'll find me drunk every day. How terrible can that be? I use drunk as an example. I'm saying, of course, I'm not a drunk. I'm saying, but that could be anything. Use any other life issue that people have. Some people are depressed half the time. That's what we were talking about earlier, Michael, right? Success means you suddenly have to start fronting up. But look, that's why I think it's a whole conversation. And sometimes the fear of success is not that we necessarily don't do. It's the fact that we don't do as much as we don't reach for our potential. We don't reach for the stars. We don't reach for greatness. We settle for okay. That way, I might make some money, but they won't see me. They won't be chasing me. They won't be hassling me. My life will stay the same. But anyway, I'll leave that for now, right? And so back to your point about our topic today, Michael. So we are. So we have the mental habit of comparing ourselves to others, Michael. You know, and I think I like your idea that we should embrace competition, because competition will come. Whatever you do, let's face it, right? You know, some people that their fear of competition is saying, I'm not going to tell anyone about it. I won't talk about the idea. I won't talk about what I'm working on because they might copy it. That's fear of competition. You know, and another idea, you know, which is playing that same game, but further down the line. You know, if I do it, once they see it, they'll copy it. You know, I got a friend of mine who is a copyright freak. You know, it's not just, you know, also copyright, patents, all those things, right? So, you know, literally, he thinks his idea is so remarkable that he did not tell anyone about it because they'll copy it, because they might copy it. They might go and do it better in a different way. You know, they might steal elements of it for their projects. There's no, and I guess now for some, that fear of competition is, what if they charge less than me? Well, they can do it faster than me. You know, so again, I think, but we have to embrace the competition in all walks of life. You know, I'll even go as far as saying this. If you're the only one doing what you're doing, you're doomed. Yeah, I just said that, right? If you're the only person doing what you're doing, offering the service you're offering, I guess it tells me that either there's no need for what you do, or the market is tiny. People don't know they need you yet. And that's going to be hard work to get them to understand that they actually do need you. You know, the more people are doing what you're doing, the better for you, the better for the market, the better for your target audience, the people you're here to serve. So we do have to embrace competition. You know, I think we have to embrace it and then also and turn it around. You know, look at it from a different perspective. I think I saw a comment by Dr. Leslie earlier, Dr. Leslie Flowers, on the event page. She says, embrace the mindset that there is no competition. That's, you know, there's competition everywhere, right? And you can't get away from it. But embrace the mindset that there's no competition, that you are the expert to those who haven't learned about what you have to offer. That's a good way. That's a good way. I think that's a way to look at it. And I think my reply was excellent way to respond to fear of competition. Embrace the fear. And as you're saying, Michael, focus on you. Focus on you. You know, I guess in a sports setting, Michael, it's quite obvious that there's winners and losers, right? But in a business, I think in the business world, in the service world, in the products world, there's not winners and losers. You know, there may be number one in the industry, number two in the industry, number three in the industry, and then the others, right? And how the world tends to work is that people will tend to buy from the market leader, number one. But now, whatever, you know, think of Coke and Pepsi and all that stuff, right? So, but you know, number one, Coca-Cola can be number one, and people will buy Coke more often than not. But there's also a place for number two. If that's Pepsi, okay, so be it. I'm saying, but there's a place for the others. You know, we don't lose if I'm not necessarily recognized as the greatest in my field, because there's still a market for you. It's a market for everyone. Cyrus does podcasts. I'm saying, how many podcasters are there? I know at least, you know, 5 good ones. Cyrus is the best of them. Don't get me wrong. You know, but I'm saying, you know, the fact that Cyrus makes money does not mean the others don't make money. You know, maybe that's a way of me saying there's more than enough customers for all of us. Never fear competition in business, because it is part of the reality of anyone in business. Has people who do what they do, and some do it better, some do it a bit less better, a bit less good, right? we have to come to terms with that, and then we have to address it somehow. Dr. Dorothea, welcome, Dr. Dorothea. So good to see you. Dr. Dorothea, normally I see Dr. Dorothea on our positivity live. So it's a joy that you're here on a Tuesday, Dr. Dorothea. You cheered me up. Another one I was thinking, do I invite? But it's obviously been more than worth my while. Dr. Dorothea is, she's an amazing chemist, amazing genius, really, genius brain. She does many things apart from just being a chemist. Thank you so much for being here. Natalie says, I agree with you regarding single or dual-discipline professionals. The market competition is tight. I don't see my competition. Of course you don't, because they're doing what they're doing. Can they see you? I see a chance to learn and grow alongside my professional peers. That's a good way of looking at that. Collaboration. Because I think ultimately that the aim, my point today is don't fear your competition. Find a way for you to be better. that's the long and short of it, right? Find a way to be better. You have to find a way to make sure that you are better. I'm not saying you're winning. I'm saying you're just better. You're better than you are. As Michael says, this is a game between you and you. What I call me, myself, and I. So make sure you're better than me, and you're better than you, right? Because that's what your customers demand. They want you to be better. That's why they will choose you. It doesn't mean you have to be number one. You have to win the markets, and that's not how it works. You have to be better than you are. With that, you get more and more confidence, more and more of the right conversations about your brand. I'm speaking Cyrus language now, and then people will more people will buy from you. What you can't do is stand still and stagnate. If you do that, then others get ahead of you, right? As Dr. Dorothea says, there's so much space in the middle for success. There really is. I couldn't agree more. Competition sparks creativity. My point now is about getting better. You being better than you are today. If you think you're at your top today, you're doomed. We have to all get better at what we do, how we think, and how we deliver, and who we serve, how we serve. Let me stop talking. Cyrus, share with us, my friend. You fell off the stage again. Be careful, Cyrus. Stop going around the edges, right?
It's quite, this stage is quite slippery today, to be honest. So first of all, I want to thank you for all the help you've provided to my line of work, my way of thinking in the past 2 years. You're a great mentor. Thank you. And before I start the points I wanted to convey, can I please just say thank you to Natalie, Simi, Tracy, David, and Luz, Silvadip, and Crystal Behi, and also Lisa and Dr. Anderson, is it? Yes, Dr. Anderson. Thank you so much for being a part of our community, and it's a pleasure for me to be a part of your community. So I'm gonna be firm but fair, as usual, right? The fear of success that I think Michael, was it Michael or was it yourself who mentioned fear of success? I was gonna say I have seen it in a lot of valuable books, but in my personal life, it's such a nonsensical word, fear of success, because how can you tell me after achieving what you wanted to achieve, which you can then call a success, are you telling me you are scared of feeling fulfilled? Well, then again, success and feeling fulfilled are two different things. But I hope your success at some point results in feeling fulfilled as well, because without that, you will feel empty inside, and it's going to leave you wondering, why did I put all that effort in? So I hope you feel success and you feel fulfilled subsequently as well. Now, regarding competition, some people, including me a few years ago, are afraid of, they're scared of trying harder and trying more and putting more efforts in. They're not afraid of competition. They're not afraid of success. They are afraid of trying harder because they're feeling life is already difficult, and I am already trying hard, and I've not been able to achieve what I wanted to achieve. Okay. Obviously, not everyone's like this, but most people think that. So I've not achieved what I wanted to achieve after all of these months of years of trying and feeling frustrated. Now you're asking me. Now the universe is asking me, or my job is asking me to try harder. No, that's not happening. So that is one of the things that annoys the person who thinks this kind of thoughts. So please do not be afraid to try harder. And another thing I wanted to say is that if you're feeling scared of your competition, that means you're not trying hard. We should try so hard, our competition becomes scared and fearful of us, right? Have you ever thought about how your competition feels about you? If they're not scared of you, you're not trying hard. You're not trying hard enough, right? We need to try so hard. Our competition mentions us left, right, and center, right? It is there and then that you can claim and think, I am trying my best. I am trying hard, right? So it is not easy to shake off that fear, but it is possible, right? And the real competition, I have experiences with people who are at a stage in their career that they're not trying anymore, right? They have stopped trying. That is one of your competitions. If you stop trying. Quitting is one of your biggest competitions, right? Now, a competition in the market is a source of knowledge, and that's one of the most valid sources you can find and emulate. So you can study them really, really well, and pick what you like, and just leave what you don't like, and predicate your business idea and business structure upon that. And so in terms of your branding, how can someone be your competition? They're not you. You're unique. When you're unique, when you know you are unique anyway. When you find out and realize how unique you are, you stop being scared of competition, because they can't live your life. You can't live theirs, right? They can be very good at business. Well, you can try and learn and become really good at business, right? So don't forget, Netflix started from selling DVDs and stuff, right? They were Netflix from the get-go. Blockbusters refused to become a Netflix. Okay, so they lost in the competition with the times. Okay, so times left them behind. So the biggest competition here I want to mention is becoming irrelevant in the market, right? So not understanding your target audience. Your audience could be asking for dog food, and you're trying to sell them cat food. Yes, it is pet food. Yes, but you do not understand. You not understanding your market results in your own demise, potentially your business's demise. So understand your competition, learn from them, and understand your target market and serve them. Fear of competition solved. Thank you.
I say thank you to you, my friend. You know, I said that is genius. I mean, look, I think we can go home now. Don't know why we're still talking, right? No, there's always a bit more to learn, Cyrus. You know, I agree with you 100%. You know, knowing that there's competition is the call for you to. You say try harder, Cyrus. I say be better, whatever that means, right? And I think that you hit the nail on the head when you say it comes down to understanding your customers. So, and you are unique, right? Even if you're not, how can you be unique the way you write content, Cyrus? How can you be unique the way you make websites? There's millions of web designers. You know, how can you be unique when there's always someone else who does what you do. So I agree with you. You have to create that point of difference, and that point of difference always comes down to serving your customers better than their solution. That's the answer, right? Don't be afraid of competition. It's there. It's always going to
The
be there.
solution.
Yeah, and your solution, whatever your solution is, right? Don't be scared of others doing what you do. It's what it is, right? So to see me, I'm with you. Competition means that your ideas is relevant. I think it's the word Cyrus used, right? There's demand for it. I agree with you entirely. So Natalie says, genuine need for specialized, multidisciplinary practitioners, and genuine scarcity of these drives this small sector. And my valued clients and connections to me and my global peers. I have 2 LinkedIn members who became the service so far today. Happy Tuesday indeed, Natalie. Happy Tuesday, Natalie. So look, it's for us to get better. It's for us to and better does not mean always trying harder, Cyrus. Better means if we understand our customers' needs, really understand our customers' needs, then we can create a solution that serves them better. That doesn't mean we have to work harder always. It really doesn't. It just means we'll do something different to the rest of the markets, to others. That can be a thinking task, not a physical doing task. That's why I say it doesn't always mean working harder. But it is based on another point you mentioned, Cyrus. We need to keep improving and learning, learn and improve. But the biggest lesson we need to learn is our customers, who they are, what they need. I guess now this takes me to another point in our conversation, which is, does it matter what the others are doing? Does it matter what your competition are doing? Should you look at them to frame your solution? I wonder what you think. Those in the audience, Cyrus, Michael, should you do market research, basically? Do you really need to? And if you do, what are your parameters, your constraints, your boundaries of what you take from it? I'm sure anyone who hears me talk, I'm leading towards my favorite thing in the world, which is creating a blue ocean solution. Cyrus, Michael, do you care what the competition are doing?
I got a question for you.
Please, go for it.
In your blue ocean solution,
Michael?
He's talking quietly. Go, Michael.
in,
Go, I can hear you.
in your blue ocean solution, what are you wearing?
Swimming trunks, I suppose, isn't it? A swimming suit. I look like a big dolphin.
I thought so. What came to my mind was you like wearing a dolphin suit. That's what I was thinking. I was like,
As long as it's not a mankini, I'm all right. And people are telling me to wear a mankini. I'm like, nah, I give that a miss.
and that
I like
image
to
was
keep
triggered because
my
of the word
friends.
blue ocean solution. I'm like, what the hell? Why did that come into my mind? Okay.
Look, a blue ocean solution essentially just means that you're not in the cesspit of the red ocean where there's a bloodbath amongst competitors. The red ocean is where where everyone tends to spend their time. And maybe so there is a relevance, Michael, whereby today you have a unique solution that is proprietary, that's different, that's new, right? Tomorrow, that same blue ocean strategy today is going to become a red ocean strategy because competition will come to you. So then that's when you're going to have to compete. The challenge then becomes, Michael, how do you keep your solution ahead of the game? How do you keep your solution in the blue ocean? How do you blow away the competition? Is the question I'm asking, really.
You
you
study the
know,
competition.
whereby they don't exist. You know, they're not you. They're nowhere near you.
You
And
study the competition. And every time your competition maneuvers, you figure out how to maneuver yourself. It's always a strategy. And you're strategizing to win. You're always going to be in that kind of position. Your competition is going to come at you. They're going to move a particular way to try and avoid you. And you have to get in there and block them. Not only do you have to block them, but at the same time, you probably even have to outmaneuver them, block them
right.
while at the same time getting ahead of them.
So this is you swimming in the red ocean, Michael,
Yeah.
because you're competing and you're, you know, the inherent danger of competing, of doing what the others are doing. I guess there's a few risks. The inherent risk is that essentially you're doing the same thing as them.
Well,
Maybe.
I'm not going to follow doing what they're doing because essentially it looks like I'm doing the same thing they're doing. But I am
Mm,
at the same time keeping ahead. I'm thinking of how to outwit them, how to do something so spectacular they have no answer for.
right.
So I'm going to
That's
do
it.
something that is totally different. And the only way I can do that is for me to figure out what they're doing. And then in turn, I know what they're doing. So my body now knows, okay, and my mind, this is how they maneuvered. And this is how they got here. This is why they're doing this. And oh, this is the way I'm going to, intercept them because I know if I make this maneuver, I can do that. But then at the same time, how do I outwit them? How do I go
Mm,
out of how do I go into a space? It's like playing chess. How do I go into space or mahjong, the Chinese version of chess? How do I get into a position where, I can outwit them and then continuously do it, or I can get and then do it in such a manner that I have a really huge margin over them? And that's what you're
mm,
continuously thinking. And so you when you're in that mode, you can't be afraid of the competition. Fear should not come
I, I
into your
agree.
compass
I
because that's
agree.
going to make you stagnate. And when you
Yeah.
stagnate, you're going to lose yourself. When you
And then,
become complacent, you're going to have that person or you're going to have the competition rock the boat or the
mm,
competition is going to rock your boat. So
mm,
you don't allow that to happen. You got to not fear them so that you can think logically, clearly, expeditiously, instinctively. Because once
yeah.
you get that fears out of your mind, all those avenues are open to you and you can use them. And so long as you're aware of them, you can operate that way and continuously practice doing that. It's just like
Yes.
Cyrus. Cyrus keeps on falling off the stage. He's getting
Mm,
better. Have you
yeah.
noticed he's getting better? He falls off the stage and he quickly is
Have
getting
you noticed
quickly
that it
coming
comes
back
back
on.
as a different Cyrus each time?
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
that's also another thing.
see me. Ignore Michael. Michael asks, Michael's a funny guy, right? Yeah, what are you wearing in the blue ocean? That's a Michael way of thinking, right? He's distracted for a second from the topic.
Simi, what would
It's
you
just
be
being funny.
wearing in the blue ocean? Let me ask you, Simi, what would you be wearing in the blue ocean?
It suits. I know it suits of sorts. No, it's a figurative question, right? Rhetorical question. There is no answer to Michael's funny question to me.
No, there is no answer.
Joni's in her bathing suit as we speak. It's in her bathing suit and just logging in to say hello. How you doing, Joni? I sent your book this morning. Hopefully you've seen it and you've downloaded it. So now most of the changes are done. I know there's still more to do, of course. So have a look. Let's talk ASAP. Before that, let's talk the next couple of days. Let's get your book finished. That way I can get on with your memoir in the darkest hour, she calls it, right? So thank you so much. You're right. So Natalie says, should we do market research? Yes, of course. Of course we should, Nat. I agree with you. Though with specific and relevant indicators to track, review, and further development purposes. And I agree. That's the look. We have to look at the competition, Michael. I agree. But I would not look at them too hard. And I think that's what me and Natalie are making, right? Don't use them as your framework for your solution. Yes, I get what Michael's saying. You want to be better than them all the time. Joni, I said you're too funny. Bathing suit, you said, Joni. Bathing suit, not birthday suit, Joni. Bathing suit, right? Anyway, look, I don't think you should use the competition as your yardstick. I like what Natalie or what Simi is saying. Create an uncontested market space, and exactly that, own it. I think now this the question then becomes, how do we create our solution? If you're not basing it on what your competition are doing, surely the only way to go, as Simi is saying, is what Sarah said. Understand your target audience, understand the pain, really understand the pain points. And then understand, as Michael was saying, why the competition are failing to meet those needs. We'll see this every day. Because this tells me that we don't always need to create a brand new solution for anything. What we need to do is refine and improve what there is already. That's a market that's not well tested. That's not that we don't take advantage of. Rather than trying to create something brand new, you can tweak what's there already, and that comes from really knowing your customers. I dare say, Michael, words you don't like me saying, you have to love your customers enough to put the brains in, to put the thinking in, to find out what would really change their lives. What do they really want? I say all this because most of the time, as service providers, as businesses, we think our clients are buying what we do. But most of the time, they're not buying what we do. They're buying how we make them feel, right? Let me give you an example. If someone comes to me and they say they want to write a book, for example, I could say, yeah, of course. Writing your book is part of the process. But then for some clients, you realize what they really want is a listening ear. It's almost like a therapist, right? Someone to give them the time to process and their experiences and to get to a place where they feel heard and they feel seen. I say, I do marketing. Gone are the days when I say to you, I want to do your marketing. The reason I say it now, I don't say it that way anymore, is simply because my clients don't want marketing. They think they want social media posts. They think they want a website. They think they want, I don't know what they think they want half the time, but what I do know that they definitely want is to sell more. And how do you sell more? By being famous, by being well known, by your target audience, by the market you want to serve. That's why I talk about that. I make you famous. But I'm not the only one who understands the needs of my clients, right? So my friend Eric King, Eric F. King, he does sales training, for example. And people think, when they go to him, they think, oh, he's going to teach me how to sell more, how to get more sales, close more sales. I've been to Eric's courses more than once. I put my team for Eric's courses several times, right? And so now, when I got there, what I realized straight away is that Eric is not selling how to close deals. What Eric is selling is confidence to at least approach deals and then close them. It's a big difference, right? That confidence, the confidence is what people are really buying from him. I'm saying for most of us, we need to really understand, as Sarah said earlier, what do your customers really want? What are your customers' needs that the competition are not willing to go and address? That's a real question. That's your bold idea. That's your solution that will, as Simi says, gives you an uncontested market space and that you can own. And it's such a fine line. Yeah, see, I think this also comes back to Cyrus's point earlier. You are unique. Build on your uniqueness. Use your uniqueness to create what only you can deliver. I could start doing podcasting tomorrow. Of course I could. But I'm not going to be as good as Cyrus because Cyrus has his way of doing podcasting already. He's got a passion for it that I can't match. I got passion for other things. I'm sure Cyrus will not be competing against me on tomorrow, right? But it's that inner thing. It's that thing in your soul. I'm sure you got the StreamYard link already, Joni. I'm sure. Look on your LinkedIn DM. I'm sure you got the StreamYard link already. Otherwise, look on your WhatsApp. Let me hit send Joni the link. Right, my friends, say we need to look at ourselves as being uniquely gifted and build on that more than what the competition are doing. Let's build on our genius. Within that, let's not spare any amount of work that we need to do. Let's do what it takes to give our clients what they really want. I'm not saying there won't be competition. I'm saying you breeze straight past them. If you got a way. So I'll come to you in a second, Cyrus. So I think I'll end on this, Cyrus. I think we need to find our way of doing what we do. It's all about what's your unique way of doing what you do for your clients. When you find that place, no one can even get. They can't even get close. Yes, they exist, but they can't get close. Cyrus, talk to me.
Yep. Sorry, I fell off the stage again. Wanted to see if you can hear me. This is one of the best live coverages we've had. The things you and Michael explained about points that if we apply them, how do I know? Because I applied them and I stopped being scared. I was very, very scared until I started saying my why for podcast is a couple of things. One of them, when I talked to a CEO of a company, I would ask them, what is it that you want? They tell me, I want people to be talking.
Yeah, so it's suddenly got better. Sorry, I was going to interrupt and say, you would hear every other word, but now we can hear you. And Joni's got clothes on, Joni. Thank goodness. Well, she's not in a bathing suit or in a birthday suit. It should be. Cyrus, carry on, please. Carry on.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, perfectly now, my friend. Perfect.
Yeah, okay, excellent. All right. It must be the
Don't move.
Okay, so where was I? Yeah, so when I talk to a CEO, most of the CEOs I'm talking to, when I ask them, what is it that you want? They always tell me, I want people to be talking about me and my products. Okay, I want them, ideally, I want them to be recommending me, and I want them to be talking about me in at least a couple of communities per week. And when I ask them, do you have a podcast? And the answer almost always is no. Which brings me to the following question. My follow-up question is, if you don't have a podcast, that means you're not talking about yourself and your product. Now, the question that many people dislike, but it has to be asked. Now, that question is, if you're not talking about yourself and your product, how would you expect others to do that? That's one. And secondly, so do you try to find out what people want? Certainly, people don't want to be talking about you unless you solve their problems. People talk about brands, which are problem solvers. Brands that are not problem solvers, they get forgotten before they are learned about. Right before anyone familiarize themselves with those brands, they're already forgotten. Right before they learn, they're forgotten. So, do you try to find out about your customers? Do you talk about your customers? That would be a lovely start. You go ahead and talk about your customers. Then they will reciprocate. They will be talking about you, and that's you uh, showing interest in your customers. Then your customers will show interest in you. That's one of the ways. So, I would certainly specify. Please create your own podcast of some sort. Start from your phone. Start from your studio or whatever. Record a couple of minutes a day and post them. It's never been easier than today to have a podcast. Thank you.
I totally agree. That's where these events come in as well, Cyrus. And I tell them that the world has changed, right? You have to. We have to be talking to our customers. Many of us will tell you we've been talking to our customers for years, but we haven't. We're doing posts, we're doing comments. I said that's not talking to anyone. You actually talk to people. Joni, I said we're lucky. Joni has customers that she talks to because you can't do what she does without meeting them, shaking their hand, and breathing the same air as they do. Talk to us, Joni.
Hi.
Hi,
So,
Joni.
yes, I'm a salesperson at heart. So, of course, yes, I talk to people. That's what I do for a living, try to get the sale. In many different aspects, whether it be selling one of my puppies, selling one of my construction jobs, selling myself through, not selling myself, but podcasting is a way for me to really meet great people around the world who I value. And so, I can be vulnerable, and that's the really key part of any sort of sales career. Just be vulnerable. And I'm sure many of you listening have had yourself or to friends who have been to rehab. And I've had a few friends had to go to rehab. So anyways, the reason I'm bringing this up is the fact that it is very common to overcome some of that social anxiety that builds up within you when you are using or depressed or alcoholic, that you become kind of more self-introverted, socially anxious, whatever. And so they require you to do some speaking engagements, whether it be right in front of the rehab themselves, or they're put yourself in the scariest situation you can imagine, trying to do, stand-up comedy or karaoke or, speaking in front of your kid's school about the book fair. And the more you do it, the more you let your face be shown on camera, which is obviously what Annie and I have always totally agreed on. It's important because it levels the level of anxiety inside you just a little bit each time. And it makes it better for you to go on and do certain work. And it makes you feel not so alone or so ashamed of whatever, your voice, your face, your fucking pimple you just got. And so yeah. So anyways, this is my great grandparents' lake house, and so this is what is outside my window.
That's gorgeous, right? That is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, right?
That is,
and I'm here with all three of my kids, and we're having a really great time. So I went to pop in and say hello to my friends. And
So where is it? Where is it at?
Northern Michigan. So just about an hour south of Mackinac Island, about an hour north of Traverse City. So Petoskey. And we're located on an inland lake called Walloon Lake. And actually, Ernest Hemingway's house was 5 houses down from ours. This is my only claim to fame. And his sister and my grandmother had cocktails on the porch back in the day.
Wow.
A little like I don't even mint julep maybe. And but we're about 10 minutes from actual Lake Michigan, but this is an inland lake. It's a glacier lake, and so it's about 120 feet deep.
Oh, that's still too deep for me, Joni. I can barely swim.
I'm a very strong swimmer.
I can swim.
Nigerian.
I can swim, as my wife tells me, but I'd rather not. Thank you. It's not warm enough in the UK for me to swim too often. But looking at,
I could do the triathlon. I think I could do it, but I would rather be like one of 3 people, like one of the progressive triathlons. I could do the swimming part. I know I could, but the running, or no, I would rather not.
In case you're wondering,
I think I could be on board maybe with, but maybe it was like a motorcycle.
I can't breathe in water. That's what it is, right? I can't get my head up to breathe. So I tend to.
You just have to calm your body.
Yes,
it's literally swimming is all about you. You have to know that you float, and you have the anxiety has to leave a little bit. That's why little kids can figure it out, and when you're a grown up, you're like, I sink. I just sink.
But I do think, look, it's there is a connection between what you're saying and our conversation, if you ask me, right? I think it is fun. Life and achieving our bold idea, building a business, by finding that peace that you mentioned. And we can't afford to live in fear. Fear is not always a bad thing when it comes to this topic. So rather than letting it cause anxiety and turmoil, I think I just
think if you don't take a risk at some point in your life to lighten that load on your heart, on your brain, on your nervous system, it will eat you up.
Yeah.
And so it's just, life can really be what you make of it. And I think taking those little steps to just, get out there and conquer some public speaking things that you're nervous about, then it will just enhance your life, because then it's easier to speak with someone in the line at the grocery, or while you're walking, and you're able to give a compliment on someone with a cool golf shirt on. I don't know, but I'm telling you, it works.
No, it does work. Now, Tracy, I'm with you entirely. Tracy, I see friends and teammates, but really competition. That's the same for all of us, really. People are not trying to outdo you. They're doing what they're doing. They're not focused on what you're doing, what I'm doing. They're doing their thing, the way that we know it has to be done, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're always right. So of course, there's someone who competes, but that's their problem, right? And when you compete, you're on the race to the bottom, usually, because now you have to find. Michael talked earlier about using your competition as your guide, almost. I think ultimately what that does is, 1, it denies your uniqueness, but 2, I think you end up having to find shortcuts. How can we do it cheaper? How can we do it faster? How can we do it for less cost, less time? Yeah, how can we give them less to sell more? And that's not competing. Yeah, all you're doing is biting your nose to spite your face, and you're taking away your uniqueness and the reality of being successful in business, which is focus on you, get better, learn more, do better. That's the truth, right? You know, but
I
ultimately,
I just went one more look. I wish everyone was here with me. Just be going on some of my wave runners, not mine, my parents. I'm not that rich. And
if I was there, I'll be out
go
there.
get some of my ice cream, like live like we don't have a care in the world, which is about 1 week of my life. So even though I do have a care in the world, because they get very annoyed at my kids leaving their shoes around. I'm constantly just like piling everything away.
Let it go, Jenny. Let it go.
I know, I'm letting it go. Anyways.
So either that or buy a shoe rack. That's what my wife did in the end. She bought a shoe rack.
I'm gonna be the best grandmother there is. I'm gonna like, do whatever you want. You want to throw peanut butter and jelly at the wall? Fine, do it. Love it.
It buys you peace and quiet. It buys you peace of mind, right? No, Tracy, I agree with you. The biggest competitor, if not the only one, will be myself. I agree. I think that our real battle is with me, myself, and I. What others are doing is neither here nor there, but it's on us to get better. It's on us to maybe reframe success. I think we tend to think that our success is about winning. But I think the reality is our success is whether we are better. That's real success. Success is about professional development and growth. Maybe I'm not the best today. I'm sure I'm not the best at anything today. It doesn't mean that I don't have my unique way of doing things. I certainly do. But also, every day I will get better. And as I get better, I serve my customers better. That's my real competition. Anything less means tomorrow, as Sarah said earlier, the words you use, will you become irrelevant. If you become irrelevant, then you're doomed, right? Your broad idea is sunk. So I'm saying really is to look at success differently. Success is not winning. Success is, are we getting better and better and better? And I'll let you in the audience take that to mean what you like, really. Sometimes success is about, it's about improving your speed. Yes, I agree. Sometimes success is about giving better service, about creating a better product, creating a better solution. It is about having the unique way we do what we do. A different way that we do what we do. See, it's what Sarah said earlier very well. When our success markers are internal within us, when we create a unique solution, no one can compete with us. That's, I think, where we need to get to, right? Natalie says, Tracy, yes, I'm the same. So whilst our sectors intersect, it's all about how we practice. Exactly that, Natalie. Knowledge only equals skills. If we continue to experience through doing and learning and developing ourselves, I agree with you. Then knowledge becomes wisdom. Natalie, knowledge becomes doing what we do our own unique way because we know it works better for our clients. And then it means that tomorrow we're different us. Imagine that. There's never, standing still is never the answer. Real knowledge is getting better and better every day. I could talk all day, right? Michael, share with us. You fell off the stage for a bit. But you're back. Michael, Maybe Michael's otherwise engaged. Cyrus, are you there? No. Okay. Until my friends start talking. And Cyrus, I see you. Go on, Cyrus, please. The mic is yours.
I'm sorry, I was disconnected for a few moments. What was the question?
There wasn't really a question. I suppose from what we've said so far, I guess what would be your number one, strategy to overcome this fear competition?
My number one strategy. Well, Annie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Cool, cool. My number one strategy. Drop the fear. Competition is competition. It's always going to be there. It's been everything that I have actually had to encounter is competition, and fearing it just did not help. It actually stopped me from doing from doing what I need to get done. It actually stopped me from making a trip to like for instance, I had a job in Pennsylvania. They're going to give me a lot of money, more than I could ever imagine. And I just feared going from Florida to traveling from Florida to Pennsylvania just to do the job. And leaving my family behind, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. That was the competition right there. I feared it. And I said, having to get in the car, traveling all the way there, having to now, look for another house. It was pretty crappy last time I was there, and you can't get a house as good as this. And no, I don't want to do that. It's much better for me. I really came down to Florida to stay in Florida. But
I like that. I said, of course, I like that. So we can't afford to let anything hold us back, right?
sorry about that.
I lost you for a second, Michael.
Yeah. Yes, a call came in. I couldn't. That was the interruption. I couldn't. Yeah, so I stopped myself from going out and getting that really fulfilling that really great opportunity because of the fact that I feared it. There's there's a lot of things, a lot of people, very similar situations, who do not pursue what they would love to pursue because of some minuscule aspect of that being very uncomfortable for them. Being uncomfortable is competition. Just think of it that way. Being uncomfortable is competition. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable is getting rid of the fear and getting rid of the competition and actually just going ahead. You grow, just like Annie has indicated, you grow further. You actually, it's a learning thing. You learn more and you become a better person. The universe becomes a better place because you did that act. You made that action. That's exactly what it's all about. Thanks, Annie.
I love that, Michael. I really do. I said that is the truth. That's where it's at, right? It's within, and I think when we embrace competition, right, and embrace it because it's there. It's not, it's like embracing the air, right? No point thinking about it. Is it there or isn't it? Isn't it there? It's there. So let's embrace competition for the good reasons you say, Michael. And it is a fuel for creativity, the fuel for growth, the fuel for being better, the fuel for finding better solutions. It is the fuel for us to keep learning, and through doing, as Natalie says. So again, the real game, my friends, is not about what others are doing. The real game is what are we doing that's better and different to what others are offering. That's the bold idea. Sometimes we might think we failed. Sometimes we might think, no, it's not working, right? Yeah, but I suppose unlike the sports world where there's a winner and there's losers, right? One person wins, the others apparently are losers. But even then, I might say to you, you know, there's always someone who comes second in the Olympics. There's always someone who comes last every time. Is that a disaster? Not really, because no one dies, no one gets killed. Really not. So coming, let's say, us not winning, us not being number one is not the end of the world. Sometimes just the experience is what sets us on the path to success. Even if we don't get what we want, if we don't get what we want first time, as Natalie says, we learn. We learn and we improve.
That is true.
I've seen this so many times, even in sport, Mark. In the Olympics, a person who came nowhere last time, the person who didn't even make it to the finals of the 100 meters, for example. So they becomes the star, the new thing on the block, and they too are competition, right? But listen, let's not. I think that our markers for success, Michael, they're too high and they are abrupt. They are win lose. No, it's not. It's rarely win lose.
It's not really about overcoming the competition. It's really it's like Natalie said, it's the path, the process
Yes.
to match the frequency of the competition. You don't have to overcome it. You're a winner just by matching the frequency, getting to a
Yes.
point where you can actually match that frequency and ride the ride.
Mm.
You don't have to overcome them. You don't have to beat them. No, but you do have to be able to stand on your own. Stand at the same altitude.
Mm. You see
As you're
that?
continuously climbing, you just need to stand at the same altitude. You do not have to go beyond them. You do not have to feel below them because they're
Mm.
gonna perpetually, make you think that you're worse because you're below them. You just have to stand at their level and say
Yeah.
that I am enough. I
Mm.
am equal. I am. I am what I am,
Yeah.
and it's all
I
about
totally
you.
agree. Yeah, I totally agree. It is all about you. What the others are doing. Look, when Michael says frequency, energy, I guess I take that as coming from the same, with the right intentions towards your target audience, towards the people you serve. If you have the same love, if not more, than your competitors for your clients, then the recipe for success is sown. The seeds have been planted. Again, this brings us to Cyrus's point. We're all unique. You have a unique solution. You have the gift that's unique to you. That gift is simply that you think differently and you have a different lens of seeing the issues that your customers have. There you build on that, my friends. Then you get to where me and Michael are suggesting that we need to get to, right? There you build on that uniqueness. You're almost unbeatable. What the competition do is neither here nor there. And but it does come down to first to Michael's point. Do you have the right intentions? Do you have the love for your clients? Do you have the belief that you are the one to deliver that solution? Those are the things that puts in a certain frequency, certain vibration, certain. This is what mindset people will tell you, right? We need to know when we get ourselves in that space where we believe and we're willing to do, success is guaranteed, whatever that looks like. Success, like I say, is the experience, it's a process, it's a learning on the journey. It's not the end point, the way we tend to like to think success is. When I get there, I'll be happy. No, 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 no. Be happy that this you're on the journey. Embrace the journey. Embrace the competition. Embrace the fears. Live with it. Sometimes sit with it and see how it influences how you think and what you do. Cyrus, are you there? Mr. Cyrus, come back to us.
Yes, I am here.
And go for it. So now, what do you want to leave us with today, my friend?
Michael and Natalie raised really, really, really valid points. Say, most of the competition.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah. So most of the competition that people feel is at the
Cyrus.
ideas level, because when you are busy doing, you don't even feel there's a competition, and too busy doing rather than being busy thinking. Okay, so if you have time to think about competition,
I can't hear Cyrus.
well, you should
So
consider the competition, but you shouldn't be sidetracked by them. Okay, so competition is a very healthy thing. In a way, they are your compass. They are your moral compass. They are your marketing compass, and they are something to
It looks
anchor
like
yourself.
his mic is on
Right?
mute.
no, Michael, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't hear Cyrus.
Yeah, so
I can
that's
I can hear him. I can hear Cyrus perfectly. I don't know why
yeah.
you
So
can't.
Michael needs to leave. Michael needs to leave and
I
rejoin.
see that
I
his
did the
mic is
same
on
thing. I
mute.
couldn't hear Michael.
Yeah, Michael, you might have to leave and come back. Just refresh your device, refresh your screen, and then come back in. What's go on, Cyrus? I agree with you. I agree with you. Please carry on.
I was going to say most most of the competition related concern comes from idea level, not doing, not execution level, right? So,
I agree.
and when it comes to ideas, please do not worry about your ideas being stolen by a competition. Okay, if it is time sensitive, and if it is like competition sensitive, yes, of course, by all means, um, um, hold your cards close to chest as much as you can. Right? Actually, hold your cards. Put them in your pocket. Put them in your safe. Okay,
I like that.
safe. But please do not worry about your card being read by other people, right? So you play. It's like life is like playing cards, isn't it? So there's 52 in that deck of cards, right? That everybody out there has a card, right? So please do not worry about your own uniqueness. As long as you don't forget your uniqueness. Okay, remember, there's 8 billion of us. We're not that, but at the same time, each one of us is an important individual. Okay, so whilst you should remember, you shouldn't let that lead to a road which is arrogance avenue. Nobody wants to be walking on that. So please do not worry about ideas. Adam, since Eve met Adam. Okay, so we've all had ideas, and they are done. When you bring your idea to execution level, then it is worth it. Okay, if it is before that, please do not let that slide. And also, most people try to sell the product and service. Please do not sell the product. Please sell the why behind it.
Mm.
If I tell you, I'm, um, I'm, if I tell you I'm doing it for charity, you'll definitely buy it because you know I'm selling it for charity. Right? I am trying to make the money and pass it on to some organization, whatever charity. Hi, Tracy. Yeah. So, and welcome back, Mark. So basically, sell the why, not the product, not the what, because what you're selling, other people have it, right? And other people are selling it. And whilst you're worried about competition, other people are making millions, right? There's 8 billion people out there. So if you are worried about 2, 3 individuals on LinkedIn doing the same service as you probably need a coach, right? You probably need a little bit of time, uh, perspective, maybe time off LinkedIn and recharging batteries. Being too worried about
Mm.
is not helpful. It's sidetracking you. and it stops you from being creative, it
I
is
agree.
not healthy level.
I agree.
Thank
I agree. I agree 100%. We lost some of what you were saying, but we'll get the point, Cyrus. Tracy, welcome. How are you doing? I love that background. Is
Thank
it
you, thank you. I have this little decoration on my wall. It's white now, so I guess I'm just putting those circles around it to incorporate everything together. I'm just here to say hi, and I wanted to ask you a question, Annie. And you do a lot of video shows, video events.
please carry
Do
on, please?
you have people watch, replay, and what's the number that you're getting?
Do I have people watch replays? A few. So I don't. I know what I should do. I know what I could do. What I could do is repost all my events. I will do one day when I have time, right? So the idea is to repost extracts. You know, but then you never know. You never know who watches it on YouTube or on LinkedIn. Of course, they give you a number. So most events have a high number of views for after the event, like in the hundreds. There are hundreds here, so people do watch the events. But I think I could do better at actively promoting events. That makes sense. That will get more views. Let's say someone messages me, which they do. Oh, sorry, I missed the show. The first thing I do is say, right, here's my YouTube link. Go to my YouTube and watch the video, watch the replay, right? And while you're there, please like, comment, subscribe, and watch more videos. That's how I do it. Why'd you ask? What are you thinking?
Because when I look at my numbers, starting from the time that the audio was ending back in December, so I did a few video events. At that time, I think all the replay, views, I don't really know if they actually replayed the video or they basically click on it. Anyway, interactions, okay, it was below 100. Now I see probably after February or March, the number picked up significantly. But because I did not do those abstract, I did not edit it. Okay, I just whatever it is right there for the replay for the entire length of the time. So I do see maybe 3%, 300% increase. So that means people do have the interest, but I don't think not editing just show it as the organic form is the way to go. So I'm thinking about trimming them a little, just pick the highlights and do it. But I haven't got the time really to do the editing. But I think I need to get into that part and like you said, promote it. After event, all those interaction follow-ups are very important, and that probably helps even more to bring audience, and then you can follow up on that. Interactions during the show has been pretty good, but it's very difficult. Like you are also running it by yourself. I'm not sure if Cyrus is here as a co-host or he's just a guest speaker. If you are running it, there are 4 places you look for, right? The chats, interaction with your guests, and then private chats behind, and also the technology with the StreamYard and LinkedIn. It's a lot to deal with. And for me, because I use Restream exclusively, they are a great team. I have to give them the credit for it. But it has been 2 occurrences. When I click on go live from Restream, everything's fine. But on LinkedIn side, nothing is streaming. I actually talked about an hour at one time for nothing. Yeah, and I was thinking, okay, maybe 12 o'clock is pretty hard for people to make it. That's okay, because I didn't have the second device running to double check. So last Wednesday when I was doing it, and I finally got smart. So I had my second device running. So I caught that happening again at 5 minutes. So we stopped it and we did it again. So I was going to ask you, how did you manage it? Did you feel there's a need for a co-host? I'm probably going to have a co-host very soon as well, just to have everything running smoothly.
Co-host is
Well,
human, right?
can I jump in there?
Yeah,
Just for a
please,
little bit.
Michael. And Cyrus, I see you flashing your mic as well, my friend. Let the Michael speak, then we'll come to you, Cyrus. Go on,
Tracy,
Michael.
the fact is that your numbers went up to 300% because of gen people are looking for genuine content, nothing clipped, nothing short, because they see that a lot. We get a lot of clipped and stripped things on TikTok, on all, even on YouTube, just short streams, and that's, especially if I'm into a subject that does not satisfy me at all. I just I ignore it, so to speak. But if you give me something that is full, that actually nurtures my mind, that tells me that is genuine, and I can know that it is genuine, then I'm going to be watching it. Point blank. I'm not going to go somewhere else. No, no, no. I'm going to stick to it and watch it. So you might want to rethink that, um, with respect to the number of views that you're getting. I'll let Cyrus jump in with all the other stuff.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much, Michael. Tracy, I have been to your live events. In front of the camera, fantastic. Say what you mean and mean what you say. So, can
Cyrus,
you hear me?
move left a bit because you're breaking up. Move left now. Move
Oh,
one
okay.
word.
Sorry. Is it better now?
Much.
Much better. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, is it better now?
Perfect, my friend. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Apologies. So, so as I was saying, your work is good. And can I please ask you, how long has it been since you started your live events? Please tell me that.
Live event I started in late December. So when the audio events were ending, I did a
Yeah.
total of 12 episodes, the live
Mhm.
events on different
Yeah.
subjects.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
then I stopped doing that last month. And I took a
Mhm.
long break and start thinking what I can offer to my audience. So I'm just
Yeah.
picking up last Wednesday for my first one. I'm
Mhm.
going for another one tomorrow. And I feel, bringing a presenter is better because people like to interact with each other. Other than I teach, they learn. This is not a class, right?
Yes.
Other than
Please.
offering something you have, having them
Yeah.
to share what they have is much more important.
Yes. Look, when you go back, please, please, please do not change your style. Carry on teaching the way you're teaching, and carry on learning the way you're learning. Right. So, in terms of interactions, please do not change anything, because um, when I came to your events, everything was ideal. Okay. If it's not broken, please don't fix it. So that's number one. So style isn't the problem, and your audience isn't the problem. You have in excess of 6K followers on LinkedIn. Not all of them are going to be interacting. No, that's natural. Okay, don't worry about that. Secondly, um, when you finish your uh, episode, edited or raw, it doesn't really matter. You said you leave it as it is. So does any. So do I. Right? We just leave it as it is. Right? Leave it as it is, because it is. People do not appreciate perfect. When you make it perfect, you lose a big chunk of your audience. It is your flaws that people connect to, because people turn around and say, "Oh, she's like me." If you make it perfect, you're going to lose a big chunk of the market. So please leave your flaws in there, because to you it might be a flaw, but to me it might be an interesting quirk that brings me to your event. Okay, so you can look at it as a flaw. You can look at it as an interesting quirk, a selling point. It's a USP, a unique selling point in your. And I'm not talking about money here. Selling as in selling the idea, right? So it's all psychology, isn't it? So when you finish your episode, apart from other than leaving it there, what else do you do with it? Please tell me what you do, and I'll let you know what you need
I
to do.
normally interacted with the audience that I didn't get time to go over during the live session, and I thank people for what they contribute, and that's it. I'm done.
Okay.
I do not repost or do anything other than
Do you?
stay in the original. Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And do you pin any of the comments to the top? You pin comments when you
No, I've
I'm
never
not
done
talking,
that. I know there's
if
an
you,
option, but I never thought about doing that. What's
and
the
I'm not
benefit?
talking about LinkedIn. I'm not talking about LinkedIn. You can post it on Facebook as well. You can post it on you can cut it and put it on Instagram as well. So anyway, the point is, once you're done with it, and the interaction obviously is a standard part of it anyway, you're doing it right. Okay, so you need tweaking. You don't need a fundamental change. Fundamental change, that is not something you need, honestly. Please don't make any fundamental change. So what I suggest is, I suggest you go ahead and find out who else is like you, who else is doing exactly what you go to their LinkedIn page and find out. This is a trick, right? Find out what. I'm sorry, I've done this to Annie, and I'm not saying it in his face. Find out what mutual groups you have. Follow those groups. Ever since I did what Annie has done, my engagement has gone higher. My views have gone higher because I have gone to the same groups that because with Annie I've got, I think, over 600 or 700 mutual friends, right? So you need to find people who have a high number of mutual friends with you. So that means you both belong to the same cohort. And then find out what mutual groups you have. Sign up to those. Once you signed up to those, take your video and post it on those groups. Find an excuse. Create a post. Once you created that post, add that video to it. Just find a reason around it. Okay, so something relevant. Make it relevant, right? Then post it in those groups. Every
But don't
time.
you need the permission from the admin before you post those videos?
No, not all the time. Not all the time. Okay. So even if it's
Be a
like
rebel,
that, don't
Chris.
worry, because
Be a
you're gonna
rebel.
have to post it, and then they will decide if they will approve it or not, right? Right. So business is a really really busy thing, isn't it? Bam, bam, bam. You have to post, and if they don't like it, they will not approve it. That's the worst that's gonna happen. If they like it, however, they will post it, and that's when your engagement goes
Hello.
tenfold. Okay, do that.
Thank you, Cyrus. Thank you.
Crystal, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Hello. I just came out with Nick today. So, and actually having a day off, I just saw you still alive and driving home, but I have my headset in. I thought I'd pop in and say hi, especially because I could hear Sirius in here and everything. It's just too many people that I like. I mean, we got Tracy and of course, and thank you for the comment on the song that I had written for the anthology. It is appreciated. You know how that helps with the whole algorithm thing. So thank you, by the way, for making the comment on that for me.
Thank you, Crystal. It's very
Crystal, you know we love you, Crystal.
I appreciate that. I know I haven't been around, but when you work 10 days straight, have one day off, you kind of rest on that one day.
What time zone are you in, Crystal? You have 10 days in your week.
Yeah. I'm working 2 jobs right now. So yeah.
I've been there, Crystal. Respect, my friend, respect.
Yeah, I agree. I think congratulations on the anthology. What was it called?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think I'm more than my diagnosis. I think that's what Nick's called it.
Mhm.
Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
congratulations to all of you who are in it for sure. You know,
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. You know, I appreciate life is busy, right? Life is always busy, and so anyone who gives us a minute of their time, I'll take, and I will always thank you. So Michael in the audience, I'm going to come back to you in a second, Michael. Michael says, fortune favors the brave and those with momentum. It's not a try, just do. I tell you, this man is full of wisdom. I don't say that lightly. And Michael says, Cyrus was to talk about what Tracy could do. It's a trick. Get an axe. Cut it to bits, is what Michael was saying, I think. Yeah, I think that, but it does say,
Michael, you sound like Matt. Matt always jokes around with me. He's like, "Don't do it; it's a trap." He's always joking like that. So, Michael, you just sounded like my other half, and that's a compliment because everybody knows how much I love my other half and how amazing he is. So, but you know me, Annie. I see the StreamYard link and I can do it. I try to pop in and show support and.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Crystal. As Cyrus was saying, you are that person who we really know is a kind soul. Yeah, so thank you. I say, when I make positive comments about you, I say, we know I know how far you've come, Crystal. And you're still going. So good on you. So well done, you. Tracy, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I agree with what Cyrus was saying about, find your friends and join the group, share your videos like that. That does help your channels grow. I've noticed that. I'm 9 away from monetizing, and doing exactly what Cyrus was saying does help you grow. So
I mean,
it is a proven method.
There's many things that we can do, Tracy. There's many things that we can do with our events. I might bring this as a topic to my next Light Up Your Life, which is how do we get more views on our live event recordings? I think I'm sure there's a million strategies. So going back to Mike says, think about reuse of content. I agree, Mike. Of course, there is always as Chris is just saying, YouTube is where you want more views, really, right? It's where you want more engagement, where you want people to really watch your videos, engage with your videos, give you the watch hours you need, to give you subscribe to your channel. Mike calls it, it's about reach versus depth. That's the question. Is it nobler to in the mind to be authentic and build slow, or just seek proficiencies with the word I'll use, profilicity into Michael's word, right?
Can I please say something, Annie? Michael's insights are fantastic. Early hours in the morning. I was live coverage with him, and he's a genius at what he does. Get him on the stage.
I sent him the link to join us, so I'm surprised that he hasn't joined us. But Michael is equally in love, with my friends on stage. I said, Michael, we appreciate you, my friends. And he needs to surround himself with kind souls. I tend to, right? Yeah, and this is a Star Trek reference, I'm sure. I was going to say Star Wars, but it's a Star Trek reference, right? It's a community, Jim. And so when I say about building that community, there's many things we could do, Tracy. Many things, right? The first thing I would say is, it takes time. Even editing videos takes time, right? But also, I think there's a lot more that we do behind the scenes that people don't know we're doing, which is the SEO on YouTube, especially. The SEO on YouTube, it takes time. And if I get through 2 or 3, 3 or 4 videos a night for the SEO on YouTube, maybe because I procrastinate and I'm lazy and I get distracted quite easily. But we need to just keep doing the SEO, and over time it will work. Because I remember the day before these live streams, Tracy, my YouTube was going nowhere, tumbleweed. No one cared. I was posting stuff, but no one cared, right? As soon as these events came in early or mid-December, I started doing these live streams. My YouTube has gone through the roof. I'm not quite where Crystal is next to monetizing, but at least I'm on my way. I think I looked yesterday, I was over 600 watch hours. I tell you, it's taken me years to get that far, Tracy. Everything's still 999% better than it was a year ago. I'm saying, so just keep doing. They can't go wrong.
He's doing a great job anyway. He's doing a great job.
Exactly. How are you doing, Michael? Thanks for joining us. It's always great to see you on stage, Michael. Or Mike. Let me call you Mike. That way I don't get all confused with Michael.
I am so blessed to be here with y'all.
We're blessed to have you, my friend. We're blessed to have you.
Why don't you just call him LeBlanc? I'm Michael.
You're Michael. Here's Mike. I don't know why I always call him Michael. I guess I always think all Mikes are Michael.
It's a better name. That's why.
Mike, what do you want to share with us? Is it on Tracy's question, or is it on our topic, which is how to overcome fear of competition?
Well, it's a bit of both. I think we might be trapped in a mindset of scarcity as opposed to abundance. And I think it's up to us to create a space for ourselves where we can flourish. And it may not be with the crowd. Maybe it's pursuing our passion against the wind or against the current and believing in ourselves enough that we gather a community, an audience, and maybe it may take longer than we'd like. But I mean, I was a Joe Rogan listener way before he took off. And I think he had an audience that was faithful, and he kept so he had Fear Factor and some of this other stuff, but I don't think that's what people came to his long form stuff for. And he's a UFC commentator and stuff. Again, that wasn't really of interest to me. So I'd look at that and say, build an audience. Don't think of competition. And if people are competing with you, see if you can collaborate. If you can't collaborate, maybe you're in the wrong place for you. I think we all probably can find a place where we can excel without feeling that we have to compete. But that's just me.
No, I agree 100% with you. These events are a perfect example for me. So I do events. I know, as Sarah was saying about Tracy, always keep your style. You come to my events because they're going to be different voices. I'm doing a room tomorrow about what I call brand transgressions. And people will ask me, how can the brand transgress? How can they break trust with their community, with their audience? And it's simply by changing from who you are to something else. I think that's as Mike is saying, right? I've always worked on building that community of people, especially of authors. And my events have always been the same format. I like conversations. I don't want to teach. I don't want to. If you learn something, good for us, right? Whereas, I think in reality, for me, I enjoy the conversations more than I happily have a conversation for 3 hours, and if without teaching you anything, because I guess I got this idea, Tracy, that people come to our events for different reasons, right? Some come to learn, some come to be entertained, some come to spend time with friends. I'm saying, if we suddenly change, our friends will wonder what's happened to them, and then suddenly the trust is broken, and then with that community that we built suddenly starts really struggling. Whereas, say my friends, many of my friends, my clients, the marketing clients. I'm thinking of my skincare company. I'm thinking of my fashion brand I work with, right? They want loads of buyers today. They think they haven't got time. I'm saying to them, no, you're wrong. Take the time, build a community, show up, Number one, build a community. And yes, today will be one sale, tomorrow will be 2 sales, and then then eventually there'll be volume, because those who buy will tell their friends, and so on and so forth, right? But many people think it's too slow. But I know from what I do that there'll be a day now, so like last week, where I get 5 clients. I'm like, excellent. I'm overworked now, but it's doing it one person at a time. Like, this is what community building really is. It always pays dividends. It always pays. Say I'd rather I'm happier with that than there's some people on here, Trace. I'm sure you see them, right? They have huge networks, and 100,000 on here, on there, on YouTube, on Facebook, or wherever, right? Yet they're not engaged. They're not engaged people. We get more results from 20 people, from 100 in a community, 1,000 in a network, than they get from 100,000. I'm saying that's crazy, right? Now, there's something about building a community that's really building a community. People who people who know you, who like you. I think if we do that, as Mike is saying, we will come good. It will come good for us. He always does. So I think people struggle to make the leap between, about how you go from 1 sale, 2 sales, to 100 sales. But I will say to people, it takes the same energy to sell 10 as it takes to sell 100. But focus on those first 10. Do the right things. Now build your website. Now have a visibility. Do a podcast where you're talking to people every day. So all of that will pay off in the end in huge numbers. Now people don't seem to want to take the time. Michael, I know you flashed your mic. I think that when Tracy was talking and when Sarah was talking, what do you want to add?
When you started talking about your brand and your fashion, and I don't know what it is. You said your makeup. I was thinking to myself,
Skincare.
Skincare. Yeah. Skincare.
They'll shout
What
at me.
is
It's
the
not
difference?
beauty products.
I know earlier we were talking about makeup, and you talked about your makeup being equivalent to your shirt. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And then what about skincare? What the heck is that?
It's a branding thing. I think I'm speaking Cyrus's language. It's, how do you identify yourself? Skincare is treatment, essentially. And I know, because every time I say beauty products, they go all crazy. I'm like, calm down. I get it. Stop shouting at me. We do skincare because the products are about treating conditions, whereas beauty products is about looking better for the sake of it, right? Looking better. Lipstick, mascara. That's not what skincare is. Skincare it has a deeper purpose. Tracy, help me. You're a woman.
I wanted to ask you, do you use any of the skincare products at all?
No, I'm lazy. No, I do wear my clients' fashion, the clothing brands.
Your skin's again very decent, and if you say yes, I will believe you. But you are very honest, and you don't do it at all, right?
No,
you let them sit on the side, right? But they're good for you.
No. I'm
not even lotion or Vaseline. He doesn't use any of that stuff.
Any guy liner? I'm just curious. That's all.
Or blush.
Good question, Cyrus.
Oh,
I said guy liner, and he's blushing.
How do I tell you this? My son and I have a war of words every day, because he's very much into cocoa butter, for example. I'm like, no, I don't like the smell. I don't like any smell. I don't like fragrance in that way. So most things have a fragrance, and I just can't bear them. I can't. Don't ask me why.
What about shea butter? Shea butter doesn't have any fragrance. It's you gotta get it from Uganda.
It does if you are sensitive to smells and fragrances. I think everything has a smell. Everything has something to it. Johnson's and Johnson's baby lotion. Okay, that I can deal with. My wife bought me some. How to call it? They're more they're like E45 cream, medical grade lotions. No, I don't mind using those. So I do use those. But I'm not one to use guy liner Cyrus.
Any skin is a testimony that you don't use any chemical on your face, you will stay young.
At all. I haven't got time. So, but no, I get told this. But my son, he's very much into everything. He's into ouds. That's aftershave fragrance things for men. I just look at him and say, whatever. But he's happy. So, but I do see my friends who do buy the skincare products, Tracy, who they look different. So that gives me belief. And of course, our testimonials for the products tells me that they do work. So I have confidence in the brand that we have and the products we sell, right? It's never about me, and Cyrus and Michael, and Mike. Now, do you use skincare?
Yes, yes. I use shea butter, and I also use Vaseline, and I also use. There's also the lotion I use with aloe vera. It's got to have aloe vera in it.
Wow.
And what else do I use? Mm, that's pretty much. Oh yeah, they're castor oil. I also use castor oil. So when you say you don't use skincare, I can probably understand that because if you eat oily food, then the oil gets into your food, and that becomes part of your skincare routine as well.
Yeah,
You ingest it.
yeah. No, there's something there because I think many of the things we sell, the skincare products we sell, are supplements. So beauty from within, they call it, right?
Yeah.
And as I get to look at them, a lot of them have food ingredients. It's a recent thing that my clients started making, or that's something that suddenly becomes popular in products. Is mango oil, coconut oil. I'm like, these are foods. What is doing in beauty products? It's not beauty products. Oh, okay, calm down. But no, a lot of it is food related. There's grapeseed. There's many different things that you never guess is in products. That's it's food essentially, and long may continue. So Michael, you can't tell them that I'm 100 yet, can you? I'm getting there. I'm joking. So
I
go on,
I
Mike,
can either
please.
confirm or deny what I use as skincare. I do on occasion use bath wash, which has some level of treatment in it. I can't think off the top of my head other than that. I've used aloe vera on occasion, but not on a regular basis.
Thank you for being so open, Mike. I say that for sure.
And Amy, I like to hear your shampoo and conditioner choices. They must be very good.
Tracy, there's nothing anyone's gonna learn. I like Imperial leather. I always have done, and that's where I start and stop. The rest of the stuff, shampoo. I got no hair, Tracy.
I was going to say, Tracy is not making this a safe space for Amy.
I'll be honest.
Amy, you have the best hair ever. You don't have to worry about anything. You are very consistent. You don't have to think about how to make my hair look less fuzzy and make myself presentable. But every morning you get up, perfect.
I tell you, it grows sometimes, and I have to shave it off again, right? That's an problem.
It's a good day when you get a compliment for your hair.
I tell you, and especially when you got no hair, Cyrus, right?
Uh-huh. I get you.
I'm gonna bring it back to
So
the
you asked me if I
conversation.
use yeah. So you asked me if I use like skincare and stuff like that. No,
Yes.
my my skin is drier than my sense of humor. But generally speaking, generally speaking, no, I don't use any beauty products and just wake up like that. Even though in this picture I look a little bit disheveled and untidy, but the one on the screen. But yeah, this one. Well, and there's fruit in wine, I suppose. So yeah. So to answer your question, no, I don't use any beauty products. I'm naturally beautiful.
Yes. No, the wine has a lot of antioxidants. I'm told. I have not. If I know what that means, I'm just told this thing. It's Tracy. I'm like, Tracy, leave me alone. Don't there. Let's go back to our topic, shall we? So Tracy asked Mike, "Can I have both?" So it's community building. I guess, and doing things slowly, right? Is it too much to ask? That's what Mike, as Mike always does, answers beautifully. So you can build, you can, but the slow build will get you there. It will, it really will. And it's more sustainable as well. And in a space where you have longevity, an audience that knows and loves you. The important thing for us to take away from that, my friends, is it's having an audience that knows and loves you. Again, me and Mike argue about it. We don't argue. We have discussions around this. Can people really love you? They can. They really can. Especially if you can jump my event tomorrow, please do join, because I think we need to talk about what do our friends really want? What do they see in us for them to trust us? Part of that is care, and when we show we care for people, that even if we're not the best in our sector, they will love us. And part of people loving you is that they give you the grace to make mistakes. Say the other day, for example, you can see I'm using a different webcam to my computer camera normally. So the other day I bought another one. So I bought another camera. It came, it worked first time and then stopped working. So of course I'm on Amazon saying I want a refund. I want to send this rubbish back, right? The seller then messages me and says, I will give you 25% refund. I'm like, what? 25%? Of course, I bought another camera already, right? So I'm at 25%. Cheeky. So of course I told them I think that's cheeky. That's just, what do you mean 25%? I want my full refund, and also I want the postage and packing to return your product to you. So straight away, I messaged Amazon as well and reported the seller. I'm like, here's what they're offering me, 25% of my money. And Amazon was like, you just give me a full refund. That's customer service. That's love for your customers. Amazon knows they can't afford for customers to walk away thinking, I can't trust this platform. I can't pay money for something that doesn't work. And I can't guarantee I'm going to get my money back, right? I'm saying,
Amazing Amazon.
Yeah, no, I told them. I said, no, this is why I love Amazon. I put that in my next message. I'm saying, thank you so much for being, for doing what you do, for actually caring about customers. I'm saying, when we care about customers, they will care about us too. And that care is more than just like. It's true. It's love. And I think when we earn that trust, that love, everything works. Everything works better. So even when we make mistakes, it's how do we put it right? How do we correct our mistakes? How do we make good with the customers? That's what brings love. Anything else breaks our trust, and then we're in trouble. So brand transgressions is a thing. People do it every day, and so whatever. I mentioned them here, but join us tomorrow evening at 10 o'clock my time, which is 6 p.m. CST. 5 p.m. EST. So do join us then, and let's have a conversation. I'd love to know, Cyrus. Now you have to be there. I hope you can join us, Cyrus, because any chat about branding involves you clearly, right? Because you are right.
Sorry, what time?
10 p.m. our time.
What day?
Tomorrow, Wednesday.
Oh, I'll be
Excellent.
in
Excellent.
work.
Yeah, no, but I'm sure you can join us for some of it, right? We're going to talk for
Yeah,
a long time, as we always do, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
do join us. Look, my friends, thank you for another amazing conversation. If you want to have one last point you want to make on our topic, I said, Mike, I think you spoke, not Tracy. Okay, I'll definitely come to you, Tracy. So, Mike, you said you're going to talk about Tracy's issue or Tracy's question about getting more views as well as about our topic. It's overcoming the fear of competition. I don't think you spoke about one of them. I think you spoke about Tracy's issues. Right? You didn't talk about how to overcome fear of competition. Mike, come back. Mike's got to come put his skincare on. Go on, Mike.
Well, I thought I answered that in that we need to find a place that we aren't facing competition. So, and I think part of it is if we're following our passion, what do we have to fear? If we feel, and I'm guilty of this, if we suffer from imposter syndrome, which I think is probably the worst enemy of success, then we have to sort that out. We have to sort out the why and how to overcome that. But I think part of that is if we're in the middle of our passion, then it's unlikely we're going to experience fear. I think the other thing is that I've talked about this before, Eni, I think, is if we are operating in the present, literally in the moment, and we bring intention and attention, again, fear is not going to find a place in our minds and in our hearts. I think also if we are offering value, so we can be passionate about something that no one's going to follow us on, but I think that typically, and I wrote in the stage chat, we all want to be seen, heard, and valued. So if we can bring one of those or all three of those to our audience in our passion, I don't think we're going to experience fear. And like I said, it may take time, but I think, Eni, to your point, authenticity will reach places that profilicity, and profilicity is just basically seeking sort of fame for its own sake. You may make it. I mean, one in a million folks do, whether they're athletes or rock stars or what have you. But I truly wonder if they're going to be happy, and if they're going to have the life that maybe we can enjoy in really being secure in ourselves and in the middle of our passion and offering value to others. I think that's a sweet spot that whether we actually reach quote unquote monetary success, I think we'll be successful.
I agree with you. I think that the intention is at the heart of everything of this conversation, really. But and I also agree that finding that sweet spot, finding your peace, finding your happiness, and you said intention and we're working with passion. I mean, when we bring that, it pays dividends. It always does, and I agree with you. Of course, it can take time. And I know many people who think no one cares. I've been doing this for years, and still no one's buying. But my smart friends. I'm thinking of my friend Lisa, for example, who talks menopause. She has stuck at it because her passion for her topic is so huge that now she has several books that she's in. So she has she's more famous now than she was, even a year ago, right? and she's invited to speak in more places. I think it starts there, right? That's where you realize that it is working, because people are seeing you, they're taking you seriously, they realize your topic is important, and I think it's not. I know it will come good in the end, So I'm lucky to work with people who they're passionate about what they do, but it's not something that we would ordinarily think about. That's something we need. I'm saying, if that's you, stick at it, and keep showing that passion. Keep, Mike mentioned value, giving value, right? It means, what do your audience need? What do they want? How can you help them more? That's value, right? And it's different for all of us. I'm saying, it's for you to find out what that really is. How can you really help people? Those that make money on LinkedIn, it's not normally because they're better than anyone else. It really isn't. It's because they show more care. They build better relationships with the people they're here to serve. That's how you make money in the end. If you're struggling, keep at it and believe in yourself. Success is not the end point. Success is a journey. Success is a process that you're going through. Success is your growth. That's for all of us. Success is how we get better. That's our success, really. Every way, I want to welcome you. So I see Dr. Roxana is here. Thanks so much for joining us. Natalie, thank you so much. Where's Ebibo? I saw his name. Yeah, so his name on my list. Ebibo, I haven't seen you for a long time, my friend. Glad you're here, though. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. Tracy, please, the mic is yours.
Okay, Annie, I actually wanted to ask you a question before Mike start sharing that passion and value, and I agree with that 200%. And every time I saw your shows on, you do lots of live shows, and then start thinking, Annie is going to do another couple hours nonstop. And I don't remember ever seeing you drinking, take a sip of water or anything. And I just don't know how you could do it. I guess that's really, you're passionate, and this passion is really driving you forward. You're so self-driven or passion-driven. Is that right? Please tell me otherwise.
No, I love what I do. But I've got water here always. Can't see it from there, right?
Oh yeah, but your water is not showing up because
right,
your background 80.
Let me put it from the camera, right, rather than trying to put it from my computer screen, which is a bit dumb of me, right?
Okay.
I have to get a new different camera. I got a fridge right behind me full of water, so I'm always when I disappear, I go and drink my water. So I do drink water constantly, and I love cold water. It has to be cold, otherwise I get to be like, it might taste lukewarm. But look, I love what I do. I love the response I get. I love the life I get to live, Tracy. I remember not long ago, a few years ago, right, when I would wake up in fear of everything, in fear of how my client's going to respond. How's this going to go? How's today going to go? Whereas now, every day is a joy, because every day is how I want it to go, right? I get to do what I want. I get to serve people. They love me more. And it's just, if I could have written this script, Tracy, I'd have written this script. Sometimes I think to myself, why don't you dream big enough? Why don't you dream bigger? But I'm happy with my dreams come true. So I'm happy with that. I'll take it, right? And I guess now part of my conversations is realizing that there's always more that we can do. But when it comes down to things like that, I talk about, it's about having bigger dreams, being willing to be better. It's the only way we're going to earn more is by being better than we are, right? And doing serving more. So that's what I try and do every day, and it's such a joy to do what I do and have that peace of mind. That's success in itself, as Mike said, right? That's success in itself. I'll take that. Now the money will come. I think I want to believe the money will come in good time. And I've gone past the days when I was not making money at all. Now I was just paying bills. I'm saying, whereas now I make money and I get to have fun. Cool. That's heaven, right? Mike, I see you were muted.
I had a poem that I wanted to share with everyone, but specifically with Tracy. It's called Clarity Within. In fear of that we know not, we give power to others' thoughts. When from within lies a power that stands strong against forces, able to draw and quarter us, robbing us of clarity within. Stand assured in authenticity, without need for guile or deceit, secure in the knowledge of one's value, years of experience and success, secure in the ability to bring productive solutions, bringing abundance of clarity within. Looking deep within, we find that we are, in our hearts, creatures of unity, global brothers and sisters all, a spark within reaching out to start the fire, light leaping outward, clarity within. And the reason that I think this is so important is I think we allow ourselves, it goes back to this idea of abundance and scarcity. I think we allow ourselves to listen to those voices sometimes that tell us that we don't have value, that we don't have something to bring to others. And even if it's something simple and small, I think, regardless of our quote unquote abilities, we all have value. And I think if we can lift up the other and sort of celebrate their value, while bringing our own, I think that's the sweet spot. And it goes back to what Eni was saying about, that audience and bringing value to the audience. Because inevitably, whether he's selling a book or he's, trying to promote a show, his audience or his readership or, whoever is buying that product is really the people that are bringing him, that A, are sort of applauding his value, and B, are bringing him success. And again, I don't think it necessarily has to be monetary. You can be successful just in helping another. And I believe that will come around in one form or another. Again, it may not be monetary, but that's my idea of success. Thank you.
So, a beautiful poem. So again, I think it's a good place to leave our conversation. I think with the wisdom that Mike always shares with us is always one to take away and think about deeply, really, this is, the whole reason we're in business is for the people that we're here to serve. I think, when we use the words like authenticity, I think it's always good to break it down, Mike, to say, just be, your true self. Who are you really? If you are that person with good intentions, people will see that. That's authenticity to me, right? Let's be those people who really are intentional about helping the people here to serve. So our success is guaranteed. But thank you so much, everyone that's added to my conversation. It will be here for another 3 hours, but I'd rather not do that to you. I'll let you go. But thank you so much. Do enjoy your evening, Cyrus, Michael. I appreciate you all. Joni, who was here earlier, and of course those in the audience. Thank you so much for being geniuses. If you have events, please do invite me. Tracy, you have to invite me to more of your events, right? Invite us more of your events. Because I think, I was in your last one. And I think one thing that you do have, Tracy, is amazing guests. So I think it's not I'm always in awe. I am always in awe. So I think to reach out to big people. It's a great thing. It's a, I don't know if I'm lazy. Am I lazy? Maybe, but I'm lucky. I've got co-hosts already. I got co-hosts, and
You're not lazy, mate. You're not.
they bring their friends. But I used to do a
hardcore.
podcast, Cyrus, years ago, where I said it was a guest interview podcast. I used to interview business owners locally to bring them to the world. I say, that I know how much hard work that is. As soon as one show is done, you have to have your next guest lined up. Otherwise, you might just be in trouble, right? So now I applaud you for what you do, Tracy. I applaud you for what you do, Mike. I say, maybe we should do more events together as well. Really.
Sure, why not?
Mike,
But I want to say one word about you. I'm sorry. Did I cut you?
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I'm just going to keep it short. Amy, you inspire others to do better, and I like to learn stuff. That's why I go out and find people that I can learn from, and I'm hoping that somebody else also learn alongside of me. So that's the difference between you and me. You inspire a lot of people, including me. Thank you.
You're so sweet. Look, karma. What goes around comes around, Tracy. I'm blessed to stand on the shoulders of geniuses like you at my events. Otherwise, I'd be talking to myself, wouldn't I? Really. But thank you for your kind words, and so I know that like-minded people stick together, right? And so the goodness that I try and give, I know you will embody every day. So I'm blessed to have what Mike came up and that's what I said, that we're blessed to have you here. I meant that sincerely. Thank you so much. Cyrus, please, what's the last point you want to make? Cyrus, go on.
Yeah, if possible, I wanted to dedicate this short 1 minute.
You've moved again. Cyrus, you must stop moving. Stop moving. Every time you move,
I just wanted to dedicate this song to everybody who made this event better by attending it.
Okay, now, I will say this. Mike does music as well, right? So
absolutely, his poem was beautiful.
So it turns those into songs. So you two definitely talk. Go on, Cyrus. I'll keep quiet.
Thank you. This one's called Branding, Branding, Branding.
Branding, cleared up my misunderstanding. Now I know what to do, now I understand. Believe me when I say I'm in love with my brand. I don't just have a dream now, I got a plan, trust me now. I know who I am as a brand, louder than noise, sharper than trends. My brand's the message the world now defends. I'm not just selling, I'm taking a stand. Truth in my voice, fire in my brand. Louder than noise, sharper than trends. My brand's the message the world now defends. I'm not just selling, I'm taking a stand. Truth in my voice, fire in my brand. Branding, cleared up my misunderstanding. Now I know what to do, now I understand. Believe me when I say I'm in love with my brand.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I love watching all these musical creators suddenly come out of nowhere. But I've seen you get better and better, Cyrus. So congratulations to you, and thank you for always sharing with us. Everyone needs a song for their brand, right? There you go to Mike, or there you go to Cyrus. I think Dr. CJ makes hers as well. Chris obviously can do songs as well. So these are all geniuses. I can't do any of that stuff. So, you know, my friends, look, thank you so much. Look, enjoy your evening. So I'm going to let you, I'll tell you, I have no other shows today. So you're allowed to go and get drunk quietly. I got events tomorrow. I got events Thursday. I got events Friday. So hopefully you join us there. Who's in the private chat? I'm scared to look. I never look at the private chat, Tracy. I don't know if you do. Because
something.
Go for it, Michael.
Okay. Branding cubed got you fooled because you just got ruled by branding cubed. As to Michael LeBlanc and what he said, operating in scarcity environment is a more detrimental part, or is more detrimental to progress, as opposed to operating in the abundance environment. That statement in itself marks an elevated mindset, something we should consider.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, so that I agree. I said Mike writes genius, and you know, and they turn some of those into songs as well. And I say I'm always in awe, Michael, of those who can. I can't. I don't. You know, it's hard enough for me to write a post that is snazzy. I tell stories in my posts, right? You know, it's shorter. I'm usually short, but saying those who can put words that actually do rhyme. That's from like Mike's poem. Those who do words that actually do hit home, like Cyrus's songs. I'm always in awe of. For those who put the comments in the private chat, I'm never going to look at it. I'm not going to see it until now, Mike. I've only just seen it now, Mike. I've seen my you and Tracy on there. Are you, Mike? Are you really from this planet? You got to put it in the proper comments so we can all see it and laugh properly and enjoy them, right? I don't know what Mike said I also do songs. I know, Mike. I said that before I read this, right? Look, thank you, everyone. Look, do enjoy your evening. Now, go in the comments and do connect with each other, connect with other people. More than that, to meet people, actually talk to them. Let's build that community that Mike talked about earlier. Like one by one, you never know it's going to come good for you, and most people will come good in the end, right? But enjoy your evening. If you've got any events, invite me, please. So I'll say goodbye to everyone. Bye-bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers.